This was my identity.
Nobody talks about how freaking hard it is to be a dentist. What most people talk about is how this affects the patient. What nobody talks about is how this affects us. Dentistry is ready for this. Now is really the time. Welcome back to Wellness in Dentistry. I am one of your hosts, Dr. Kyle Stanley, and today we're going to be talking about the power of coaching. So, is coaching BS? Is this something that dentists could use? Is it something that could change your life? You're going to hear a lot of stories about my experience, about Martin's experience. But first, who are we? I'm Dr. Kyle Stanley. I'm a dentist, tech entrepreneur, speaker, and researcher. And I'm joined by your other host, Dr. Martin Mendelson. He is a disabled dentist, coach, speaker, and author. And his first book, One Move Makes All the Difference, is available wherever books are sold. And together, Martin and I have helped thousands of dental professionals pursue wellness in dentistry. And if you want to get even deeper with this topic, you can join us April 10th and 11th in Dallas with our Lightside Live course. This is a 2-day transformational CE course where we go deep into setting expectations, boundaries, communication, how to decrease stress in your practice. And there's more details of this on our website that you'll find if you go to wellnessindentistry.com. So let's get into this topic of the power of coaching in dentistry. And excuse me, I am a little coffee today. I'm not the good kind of coffee, but I'm recovering from being sick from having yucky
You
kids around me all the time.
you don't even drink coffee, so
Yeah, I know. But I cough more than anybody will ever know. So, Martin, coaching.
yes.
There is especially a lot of objections to coaching in dentistry.
Yeah.
I see it all the time on Facebook groups.
Yep.
I hear it a lot.
Yep.
And I get it because there's a lot of people outside of the dental space, and really in every professional space, that are kind of swindlers with coaching. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
you see it a lot in the fitness realm. You see a lot in the making money realm for sure. I mean, I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's where we saw people like Ty Lopez and those kind of people that really started and made a ton of money but didn't actually help people. So tell me your thoughts on coaching, some of your experience. Let's go into this. How can this help people?
Sure. Well, of course I'm biased. If you don't know me, listeners, I am a certified coach. So that gives me a bit of a different insight, I think. You could argue it gives me a bias, but here's what I know. What I know is that just because you say you're a coach doesn't mean you are. And particularly within dentistry, oftentimes what people are paying for is a paid mentorship relationship, not a paid coaching relationship. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think it's important to talk about the distinction. So, what do you think, Kyle? Should I kind of define it as I was
Yeah.
trained?
Yeah, I'm interested to know what the difference is with that.
Yeah. So, and I got news for you too, folks. Like Kyle mentioned Facebook groups. You were alluding to the dental ones, right?
Yeah.
And so, I'm on a bunch of coaching Facebook groups, and sometimes I get a little annoyed within the coaching Facebook groups, the certified coaching Facebook groups, because sometimes I hear people talk about their niches about, they worked with, people with past trauma, et cetera. I'm like,
Mhm.
no, you don't. Now, what do I mean by that? And so in my training, they went out of their way to talk about the distinction between coaching, mentoring, and therapy. And
Mm.
so therapy deals with unresolved trauma, stuff from the past, stuff that's affecting you that you can't get past. Mentorship is been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. So they've gone through it before. So within dentistry, they've started their own practice, sold to a DSO, what have you, right? So you look to them to lean on their expertise based upon their individual experience, based on their journey. A coach is someone who helps you go from A to B, whatever B is for you, and has no skin in the game relative to whether you get to B or not. Now, we'll talk about ROI in a moment, I'm sure, but I'm talking about from a philosophical perspective, meaning A coach is there to help you understand how to get out of your own way. And their job is to help you to uncover what's getting in your way so you can move past it. And so that's not mentorship because mentorship is, well, how do I increase my case acceptance? Great. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. That's mentorship. That's not necessarily coaching. So if you didn't know me, what would you think about those definitions and how could I be clearer?
I feel like they're fluid and
Yeah.
can overlap
Oh,
in
100%.
many
Yes.
ways.
Yes.
And I actually don't think you're giving enough credit to coaches. Like when I hear that, I hear, okay, coach is going to ask you a lot of questions
Fair.
and help you to figure things out yourself, right?
Fair. Yeah.
And some of that is true, of
Yes.
course. But
Yes.
I know a lot of my coaches also have given me the answers too. They've,
Sure. As I do too. As I
yeah.
do too. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm very clear with my clients too. Like sometimes I'll have the mentorship hat on, sometimes I'll have the coaching hat
Oh,
on.
yeah.
But I think the other difference is it took me over a year to gain my certification. And that was the first one, the minimum level one, which is a certification that has like CODA, if you will, in the dental world, there's an international coach federation and they have mandates into number of instructional hours, mentored sessions, there's an exam, there's an oral exam. Like this is,
Hmm.
I wouldn't say it's extraordinarily difficult, but it is not only time consuming, but it's a new skill that you need to learn because
Yeah.
the nuance in coaching to a large degree is how I listen and how a good coach listens to then figure out what question to actually ask.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of training around listening, the meaning of words, how to ask questions in different ways. For example, you've heard me do this. They say always ask open-ended questions. Well, they're not all made the same way.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to ask you, why do you think that is in the beginning of a discussion around a given topic? Because the minute I do, you're going to tell me the story you told yourself.
Yeah.
So I know that. So I deploy questions in specific situations based on need, based on what I hear. And so that's a big difference right there, I
Well,
think.
I'd like to tell my story with coaching.
Yeah.
I was one of these people that thought that coaching was kind of BS. And I was
Yep.
like, wait, a business coach? Like a CEO has a coach? Like
Yep.
this seems so silly. And
Mhm.
even consultants, even dental consultants, many dental consultants, I was kind of like, especially because most of them aren't dentists,
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
you don't get it. You've never even owned a practice. How do you know
Yeah.
about this?
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's positives and negatives to that.
Oh, let's talk about that too
Yeah.
when we get there, if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. So my first experience with coaching was in 2022
Hmm.
when I got a coach that was helping me with my online business.
Hmm.
And this was a guy that I didn't really know I needed. I was talking to a friend about Facebook ads, and one of my friends said, "Oh, I know a guy who knows a lot about Facebook ads," and started researching him, and it turned out he was a coach for people that were experts, basically. He calls them experts in their field, right? So people that are usually teaching education.
Hmm.
And he gave me the proposal, and the proposal was about $30,000 over 3 months.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money,
Yeah.
And I was talking to him and I was just being very frank and just said, like, do you think that I'm going to make that money back on this? And he said, I don't really know, but based on what you told me, it looks like there's a lot of room for you to grow. I'll tell you, that was a transitional point in my life.
Hmm.
After our 3-month coaching session, he helped me make $114,000 in 7 days
Yeah.
and completely changed my life.
Hmm.
And not only that, the mindset that he taught me, the skills, the tips, the things that had taken him a decade to learn, he could teach me in an hour. I mean, it was literally like a cheat code.
Yeah.
And since then, I've probably spent another $100,000 on
Mhm.
coaches. And every time I do the same thing, every time I go like, ugh, I don't know if it's a lot of money,
Yeah.
it's always tens of thousands of
Yeah.
dollars. And I'm always like, that's besides house and car and, dental stuff like a
Mhm.
scanner, you don't spend tens of thousands of dollars on normal
Yeah.
things. And so it's always hard, but it has been one of the things that has changed my life from a business standpoint, and not even from a business standpoint, even a personal standpoint, has
Sure.
changed my life more than almost anything.
hmm And I remember watching you go through that because, oftentimes different types of coaching have different price points to it. And
Yeah.
so, the guy you were just talking about, it's a very specific business oriented thing where you can very substantively tie an ROI to it. And so
Yes.
it seems like there's a big thing, but then in the end you get back, 20-fold. I mean,
Hmm.
I've told you this before about one of my mastermind groups that, had a five-figure price tag to it as well. And I'm like, am I going to do this? And it is the thing that's fueled most of my business outside of my keynotes. And
Yeah, I
so
mean, we even use some of the things that
you
you
do,
learned there in
you
our
do,
Light Side Life
you
program.
do.
Hmm.
And so but see, here's the thing. And this is one of the things I know we want to talk about. Coaches aren't going to do it for you.
Yeah.
And so, people need to stop thinking that the coach is going to have all the answers because the coach has the answers or the questions, if you will, to help you get unstuck and help you move forward in a better way, in a more, in your case, continue with your example, more profitable way in terms of how to help people understand what it is you offer, why it's beneficial, and why they should go for it. Um, but you're the one that had to put in the time and the effort to do it. You're the one that had to take those verbal skills that he gave you and spit it out of your mouth when
Yeah.
you're speaking. Like
Hmm.
he didn't do that for you.
Right.
And so I do believe that that's where a lot of the people that have angst about coaching, that's where a lot of it comes from. Not all, of course, but a lot of it. Because it's like, they had a misunderstanding or a misjudgment in terms of their responsibility in the equation, if you will.
I think the hard thing with a lot of people that aren't getting coaching to make money is to justify the
Oh yeah.
price.
hmm
And I mean, we even have this with Lightside Live
Yep.
and our courses. Like, how does mental health, I'm going to spend whatever it is, whether you're
Yep.
doing our online courses, our in-person courses, I'm going to spend whatever,
Mhm.
$500, $1,000, $2,000, $10,000, whatever it is you're buying. How is my mental health?
Mhm.
What's the ROI on that, right?
Yeah.
And what we always say is we're not really teaching you how to make more money. However, the
Mhm.
side effect is that the people that actually spend the most money
Yeah.
doing coaching with Martin or with both
Yep.
of us, or they're taking one of our online courses or they're taking our in-person courses. These are the people that get the best
Yeah.
results.
No, it's
They're
true.
they're happier, they make more money, their relationships are better, they have less
Yeah.
stress.
Yeah.
And to me, when I was in my deepest part of my mental health crisis, I honestly would have paid anything to get
hmm
out of that.
Yeah.
And what's funny is I was making a bunch of money when I was so sad
Mhm.
back then.
Yeah.
So if you told me it was 50 grand, I would have been like, okay, if that gets me out of it,
Exactly.
let's do it.
Yeah.
Now, that didn't exist at that point back in 2018, at least from the resources that I knew,
hmm
didn't exist for someone specifically in dentistry. But it's like you're paying for the transformation. And I think that's
hmm
what I've seen with coaching, is
Yeah.
that I'm paying someone and my result is that I'm being transformed into the person that I want to be, or the business owner that I want to
Totally.
be, or the parent that I want to be, or the husband that I
Totally.
want to be. And that's valuable.
Yeah. And could we talk about this angst against people who aren't dentists here for a minute?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
So this, I spent a lot of my time in the halls with other consultants. I don't consider myself a consultant, but one of the organizations that I will always belong to is the Speaking Consulting Network. I love SCN. And SCN was originally started by Linda Miles over 30 years ago. For those who've been around a while, you know, she was like the number one dental consultant back in the day, and she's a wonderful human being. And then Lois Banta took over, and then now Ryan Vett. And you want to know the truth? Some of these consultants that came up through the ranks that are not dentists, they were hygienists or office managers or whatever. They're better business people and they're better coaches and they're better consultants than any dentist ever would be. And
So right.
so,
I mean, a good example is our mutual friend Sheila.
oh yeah, there you
So,
go.
so Sheila Roth, I started working with her at Pearl. We worked together for many years at Pearl. She's still there. She is a hygienist, started out as a
Yep,
hygienist, worked her way up to be an office manager, which is kind of a weird transition. Like most people don't go that way, but worked her
true.
way up to be an office manager and was and is partial time now the office manager for a single practice that does
Mhm.
over 10 million a year.
Yeah, yeah,
And she is better with operations, communication, knowing
yeah,
production,
yeah,
overhead, hygiene schedule. I mean, more than almost any dentist I could think of.
yeah,
And so she's a great example. Is she a
yeah,
dentist? No. Now she is a clinician because she's a hygienist and practiced as a hygienist for,
sure.
decades. But she's a total badass.
Yeah.
And
And
she's not a dentist.
exactly. And I think my whole point in even just bringing this up to begin with is this. Don't automatically negate
Discount.
somebody, discount somebody because they're not a dentist. Because
Yeah.
the vitriol that I see online always follows the same tune. It's, well, they haven't stayed up at night worrying if they're going to make payroll. They haven't. And, to me, I'm like, so what? Like, but if they can help you figure out systems so that you can sleep at night, well, what's that worth to you? Right?
Yeah, well, I think there's advantages and disadvantages of being a dentist.
Yes.
Like I know a lot of dentists that taught me a lot of things. Like Scott Luna is one of them. I learned a ton from Scott, gosh, 15 years ago.
Hmm.
But then I think of the people that taught me a lot outside of the dental world, like when I started in the tech world
Hmm.
and with my startup, and then really in like the online education space. I mean, I'm in a mastermind right now that has nothing to do with dentistry.
Yeah,
It is basically a guy that has online businesses, and he teaches me more about dentistry
totally.
business than other things. I mean, even with my course that started in January, I'm teaching people a lot of the things that I learned
Yeah,
from a non-dentist that then there apply to dentistry. But it's
absolutely.
so far out that no one thinks about it in that
Yeah.
way or in that, in a different setting. And so I think that's something that is an advantage to not being a
Mhm.
dentist, is that they're going to think about things differently. Because
Yeah.
you guys know in dentistry, we get caught up in the, well, let's just do this because that's what everyone else does. And that's what my
Mhm.
mentor did. So that's what I'm going to teach. And I'm going to teach the
Right.
next person to do this. It's
Which
like,
which is mentorship, not coaching.
yeah,
But anyway.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think look, there's no question that when I'm working with somebody one-on-one, a dentist one-on-one, that I have an advantage. Why do I have an advantage? Because we can commiserate. Like,
yeah,
I know what it's like to prep a DO on 15. Like,
yeah,
I know what that's like.
yeah,
I know what it's like to have a assistant look at me and say no when you ask
yeah.
him to do something that's clinically appropriate. I know what all that stuff is about, right? So, yes, there's some advantages to it, but I guess again, just don't wholesale discount because they are or they're not. I think the
Yeah.
other thing in terms of how to find one, I think personality and approach is a big deal. Like, if when you start to work with me, there's an intake form, and the end of the intake form has some scaling questions relative to, how forward do you want me to be with you? How much do you want me to challenge you? That kind of thing. So that's really important too, because if you're a very strong personality and you pair yourself with a coach, as the topic of today is, pair yourself with a coach who's more passive, Well, that may not work.
Yeah.
And by the way, the opposite is also true, right? So I do think personality fit is an important part to this.
Hmm.
And any coach worth their grain of salt is going to talk to you in the beginning, just as a conversation, because I got news for you. I'm at a point in my life where I'm not going to just say yes to somebody who wants coaching when I haven't had a conversation with them, because I
Hmm.
may get on the phone with you and decide I don't want to work with you
Yeah.
for whatever reason, right?
Hmm.
Um, so I think that's huge too. The personality fit is really quite important.
Is there anything specific about coaching in dentistry that you think is different from other sectors?
Probably not. And I think that's what dentists don't understand because and again, we're not talking about mentorship in how to prep, better margins. We're talking about running your practice, team cohesion, communication. These are all leadership skills. It just so happens that you're prepping teeth. I mean, you could be making cookies. I mean, this is going to sound really blunt and bold, but I don't care. I care more about who's on your team, what you've experienced, what your mindset is about it, what are the stories you're telling yourself, what are the communication skills that you have, where are you looking to go, what are you looking to learn, all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's a reason why I wrote my book not about dentists because
Yeah.
they're universal constructs.
Yeah.
One move makes all the difference. And it's true. One move of thought, one action can kickstart you to end up in a completely different place than where you are today. So, yeah, I honestly, I don't think it makes a difference. I really don't.
Yeah, I think you're right. Business is business. I had someone comment on one of my posts the other day, and they said, "Well, you were able to build, really successful practice because you're in Beverly Hills. So you're advertising to the top 2% of the US, and so that's what it is."
You ever deal with those kind of people?
And
Like,
and I wrote back and said,
yeah.
"I agree with you that we have a very specific
Yep.
um, practice base, let's say, or
Yeah.
patient base, very specific. Yes, they're more high end, but also think about our overhead is much higher.
Oh, hell yeah.
We have 52 dentists in my building.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
our competition is crazy.
Hmm.
Our lab bills are more expensive. Our square footage is smaller.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so what I pretty much wrote back to this person is I agree with you that our demographic is different. But business is business. You just
Mhm.
need to know which levers to pull or
Right.
which knobs to twist.
Right.
So in my practice, because we have a smaller footprint,
Yeah.
volume doesn't really work for us.
No. And and I think the other interesting thing, which not a lot of people may realize, you've shared with me some stories where you're working with people that are, I'll call celebrity or famous, if you will, and they want to do XYZ that's not going to work. And you basically look at them and you go, no. And
Hmm.
they're not used to having people tell them no.
Nobody says no to them. Yeah.
And the couple stories I'm thinking in my mind, they were like, oh, okay. Because like no one's ever told them no,
Yes.
you know? So I mean, the grass is always greener, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Always,
Yeah,
always, always,
the
always.
universal, and this is, you've talked about this before with the duality
Yeah,
of dentistry.
yeah.
And I love how you say it, which is when you've got your lab coat on, you've got your loops on and gloves, and you're holding instruments, and the patient is laying back and you are working, what we do is very specific.
Yep,
But other than that,
yep,
we're just another small business.
yep, yep.
We have marketing, we have average order value, we have
Mhm.
customer acquisition costs, we have
Mhm.
churn, we have
Yeah,
overhead, we have
yeah.
loans, we have leadership, we have expectation setting. All of that is just business.
Hmm. Yeah, it's true.
And I was thinking as you were talking before too, is that most dentists who get coaches or consultants usually don't get them on the clinical side.
No.
And it's because we spend all of our energy and time and our money doing the clinical side on our own.
Well, not to mention the fact, let's call it what it is. There's some wonderful institutions out there, Spear and Pankey and Coyce and Dawson, et cetera. Frankly, the institutional power of being able to provide exceptional continuing education on the clinical side, that's where you need to go, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's usually not the clinical stuff. That's true.
And you and I see it like in my mastermind or in our Light Side Live courses is people aren't coming to us and saying, how can I get my preps from 45
No,
minutes to 37 minutes?
no,
They're not.
no.
Now, we could probably advise them on that, right? But
Yeah.
even so, they're usually saying, how do I deal with Christmas bonuses? Or what's the right time to talk to my team members about raises or like
Mhm.
it's the stuff that we don't focus on that we actually need coaches to ask us questions. And
Yeah.
it's coming all full circle now. Just the other day we were on one of our mastermind calls, and you and I both were kind of coaching one of our participants, right?
Yeah.
And trying to get them out of their own way because this
Yeah.
person was saying things like, well, that just wouldn't work. Or these are things that I can't delegate to these people. These people could
Yeah.
be able to do it. And
Yeah.
both of you and I were kind of like, how true
Yeah,
is
you
that?
can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that leads into a really good example of kind of the essence of what we're talking about. So for example, if you're sitting here listening and you're a dentist that owns your practice or even doesn't own but has managerial responsibilities, and you're like, I just have no time, I just don't know what to do. So many times I work with my clients, I'm like, okay, so let's figure out what's taking your time. Well, I
That's
kind of
right.
know. I'm like, do you? And so, literally, what I guide a lot of my clients to do, which can be really illuminating, is you just mark down for whatever the appropriate time frame is. For some people, it's a week. For some people, it's a month. It depends.
Hmm.
What are you doing every day, i.e., how are you spending your time? How much time does it take doing payroll? How much time does it take doing ordering? Blah, 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 blah. And then asking yourself the question in a very honest way to answer, do I need to do this? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And
Can this
if
be delegated?
Yeah, and if the answer is no, then it becomes okay, who can do this? Now, here's the key though, and this is one of the things we talked about with this person. If the answer is no because nobody knows how to do it, then that becomes a maybe. Because the next
Yeah.
level to that is okay, so if nobody has the skill set today, then key question, what needs to change for someone to gain the skill set to take this off my plate?
Right.
And the opportunity for scale is massive when you start thinking in those ways. And so that's part of what a coach can do, because the way I would navigate through that conversation is I'm not going to tell you to delegate, I don't know, payroll to your office manager or ordering to your lead assistant or what have you. What I'm going to get you to realize is that ordering, payroll, and remembering to pay your insurance bill every quarter or every 6 months is not something that's worth your time.
Yeah.
So that's what a true coach can do, like shed light on the darkness that you just can't see through so that you can kind of get to the other side. That's kind of a cool
And
metaphor. I just thought of that. You like that?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you know what's funny about that too is like when you think of, let's say, a fitness coach,
Yeah.
when you're like, I want to lose weight or I want
Yeah.
to gain weight or gain more
Yeah.
muscle or whatever it is, one of the first things they're going to do is say, okay, let's track your meals for the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because you're probably like, well, I don't know. I work out all the time, but I just can't lose this belly fat, right? And they're going to say, well,
Yeah.
let's track your
Like,
meals.
well, what are you
Oh my
eating?
gosh, it turns out you're eating all this sugar, or you're eating all these carbs, or you're eating all this or that. And it's that self-awareness piece. So that's a great example of
Mhm.
no matter what sector coaching is happening, some of the steps are going to be exactly the same.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And it's one of the
Self-realization.
reasons.
I mean, the first step in what we teach with Lightside Live is realize.
Uh-huh.
You have to realize what the problems are. So what are the
Yeah.
problems are? Why are you
Yeah.
coming to us? And then
And
let's solve those.
And the way we do it in Lightside Live, and the first exercise in my book is a very classic wheel of life. I didn't invent it. The appropriate references are in my book, but it's a way to look at your life and understand where you're out of balance.
Yeah.
And then based on that out of balance element, which one of those out of balance elements, if there's more than one, do you want to work on first?
Yeah.
Great. And so what would it look like if you worked on that? That then
Yep.
leads into where am I today versus where I am tomorrow? What's the
Yeah.
gap between the two? What's getting in my way? What are then therefore the stories I'm telling myself? Like I'm not going to say coaching is formulaic, but I'm also not going to say that every conversation is unique because it really kind of isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, if you want to get deeper into coaching and hang out with Martin and I, you could join us on April 10th and 11th in Dallas. So this is being ran by MB2. If you know MB2, they're a big, I think they call themselves a DPO. So they've got, I think, 800 practices. So right now it's limited to only MB2 doctors. Now, the only other way that you can get into this course is if you're part of the Carabelli Club. So Carabelli Club is a buying group that my practice is actually a part of. And this month or this year, we're going to save about $20,000 through all of their discounts. So that's supplies and ordering and Amazon business, even flights and shoes and rental cars and all kinds of stuff. So if you join Carabelli Club through the link in our show notes, you'll actually save 4 months of payments, which I don't think anybody else has that opportunity. So it's really a no-brainer. That was why my practice joined. So check that out. And you could also go to wellnessanddentistry.com. You'll see in our links section where you can go to Lightside Live. And hopefully we see you in April 10th and 11th in Dallas. This is a really transformational CE course. You get 12 CE credits. And we've had a lot of people tell us and put it on video that this is the best course they've ever taken in their entire practice career. So we hope to see you there. Check out our show notes for links, and we'll see you on the next episode of Wellness and Dentistry.